I'm live. Hey, we're recording a live session learning how to play Colorado Trail. I'm going to go post this on our website here, and which is the denverguitarorchestra.com. If you are wandering the internets and you have run across this lesson, you should know that we're delighted to have you and that I will take a few minutes to let people load into the room. So if you want to fast forward past this awkward, not sure what to do with myself time, probably it's 2:29. So fast forward about 3 minutes and we'll start the lesson there. If, on the other hand, you want to just hang out and listen to me type and get ready for the group coming in, that's perfectly fine. I am posting on that page, and I hit view page, and it comes up, and I click on this to make sure I come up like I think I'm supposed to. Appears I'm all good. So then I would go post the old link onto the lesson archive. You can see all this is very, very serious business here. And I got to figure out a different goofy face to make when I set these live sessions up. Because that one looks like I made it before. We're going to be playing Colorado Trail today, and it is one of my favorite tunes. I grew up in Colorado. I had never heard the song at all until I took up guitar, probably until I took up ukulele, frankly. And um, I see it in all of the old cowboy books, but growing up in Colorado, you think I'd have heard about it once in a while? Never once came up in my life ever. So it's a new, kind of a new song to me as an old man, but apparently it was a well-known cowboy tune for a long time, and so we're going to work on that today. And got the website set up and ready to roll. If you're logging in and you are able to chat, just put a note in over here on the corner. Say, "Yep, I can hear you just fine," and then we'll get started. Um, that's what we're doing. I am out of coffee, so I'm in desperate need of getting through this lesson. and so we'll wait another minute or two, see if anybody else wanders in, and then we'll get started. We have people who kind of hang out up here in the widget don't necessarily chat. And so sometimes I don't know whether they're real or not. And sometimes I know they're absolutely real. They just don't chat, right? And so if you don't log into YouTube, then you can't chat. Apparently, that's my understanding. So, all right, let's see. Let's go. Let's talk about Colorado Trail. Talk about the piece of sheet music. You can get it at denverguitarorchestra.com if you don't have it already. Should be in front of you. And um, for me, the thing I like about this tune is you're going to be playing in C. Well, first of all, it's a level 3 song. So let's talk about expectations on level 3. Number one, level 3, all the songs are public domain, so I can leave them laying around on the website without anybody freaking out. And at level 3, whatever the chords are, the chords are. So if there's an F in there, if there's a B minor in there, and they go right in the sheet music. I don't try to work around them. And the expectation is that you can play melody, that you're getting all of these chords under your belt, and things are going pretty well with that. And then at this level, we're also thinking, hey, I want to be able to play tough uke or tough axe. And so we want to be able to do that. And then on this particular song, hey, Elizabeth, welcome in. Elizabeth, just let me know if the sound is good or not. Let me know if it's not good. You were having some jitters on the previous broadcast. So I'm hoping that it's resolving itself. I'm hooked up to the wire here, so I should have the best possible internet that I can have. Should have 100 upload speed, so I should be in good shape. So we'll talk about all of the different levels of this. A lot of times on these pieces of sheet music in level 3, I say, there's an arpeggio on there, and we're not going to do it. We're going to do it a different way. And that's what happens a lot. But with this arpeggio was designed, written out, note for note. Um, Thanks, Arlo. Like I want you to play it. So this is actually a true fingerstyle arpeggio on here, and it's I think overall it's pretty solid, and so I think it'll help you working on getting your arpeggio picking in, and I think it should lots of circles on and off, lots of circles on and off. I don't know what you mean by that, Elizabeth. Um, so we'll run through the melody or the chords, then the melody, then the tough acts. But we are going to spend a little bit of time on the arpeggio here because it's written out specifically to make this sound really good. And so what I want to do first, let's talk about your chords. The nice part about this, usually when you see a C chord, index, middle, ring, level 2 chord, almost always when we start off in C, at some point an F going to show up, but in this song it doesn't. Okay, so that's what's kind of cool about this song. You're like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about that issue. Okay? So that's your C chord. G chord, hopefully you got that sucker figured out. Okay, 3 different ways to make a G chord, but I almost invariably go with this one. I will point out at measure 2, if you are strumming and singing, if you're going to sing this and just enjoy playing the thing, you do not need to do this fancy A minor chord. You can do a regular A minor chord, index, middle, and ring. Okay, this is a fancy A minor. You will have to do this if you do to the tough acts. But if you're just doing singing and strumming, that A minor will get you just fine. Okay. Oh, really? Elizabeth is saying that when the picture and audio stop, then all of a sudden our computer goes bananas. So let us know if you're having any technical difficulties as well, because I want to make sure that it's not all of you guys struggling with it. I want it just to be Elizabeth. Not that I want it to be Elizabeth, but if everybody's struggling, then I need to know about that. But if your internet's coming in clean, just then we're probably fine. All right, so you got 2 A minors. This one that you don't have to do if you're singing and strumming. Okay, just use that one. Okay, and it's the second chord in measure 2 there. So if you want to just do that through all of measure 2, you can. We'll do that. Measure 3, 4. There's one other chord in here somewhere. Is that it? Is that the only 3 chords? C, G, and A minor. That's it. Okay. Notice, here's A minor. The only change between this and C is that this finger goes here. But the sound difference is noticeable. And I would say when you get a song like this where C and A minor are hanging out and you're using them a lot, you want to be pretty gentle to make sure to care that there is quite clearly a difference, right? If you're in a big hurry and you rush through them, you might not get the proper tonality, but there's a noticeable difference between A minor, sad, dark, full of important ideas, C chord, much brighter, much happier, much easier to get along with, C, A minor. Okay. Now, before we get too far on this song, like I said earlier, this is an old cowboy tune that I did not know growing up in Colorado, but it's in all the old cowboy books. And so at one point, this was a well-known song. And my friend Bob, who is a tremendous guitar player, says, I don't like your version. I play it all in major keys. So this minor filling in here is not universal. So you may have run into a different version of Colorado Trail along the way. I think this is the right version. I think this is probably the one that they would have written first. I think a lot of times, as with cowboy guitarists, they don't read sheet music. They just do whatever sounds good. And there's a tendency to put everything in the 1-4-5 major chords. So if your main chord is C, to put an F and a G in there. And this song would work that way. It actually would. But I wouldn't say that it's right. And so, oh, hey, Kathy, welcome in. Oh yeah, probably that's what you're dealing with, Elizabeth. There's just too many people online right at the moment. Anyway, welcome in, Kathy. Uh, so what we want to talk about then is if you come in and you're getting ready to play a tune and you have one idea of what it's supposed to sound like, and somebody who's a better guitar player, Bob's a better guitar player than I am, by the way, uh, he's got an idea of what it is. You got a couple of choices. You either sit down and say, Bob, I am going to teach you the correct way to play this song. Your way is the simplified cowboy version, and my way is the deep and complex original composer version. You could approach it that way, and Bob might be like, all right, let me hear what you got. Okay. Or you could do what Bob does. Bob's playing in a major key. I will play it in a major key. Everybody will be happy, and I'll probably learn to play better because I'm going to play like Bob. The third way is to kind of have a conversation about what are we going to do. Maybe we play it your way one time and my way the other time, or maybe we go dig into Wikipedia and find out what Wikipedia says is the right way to do this. So when you find with folk music, that's a very common thing. There's 8 different ways to play it. Not so much in rock and roll because we listen to the album, right? We listen to the album 700 times and we all decide that we have to play it exactly the same way that it is on the album. You don't, but you think you do. And so I think one of the things that's happened this week is I'm getting out Hotel California and for level 4 players, and there's a part of me that knows the guys that I'm going to be handing out to this song to have heard this song 4,000 times, and the first thing they're going to do to me is say that's not right. Okay. And so with rock and roll we have this tendency to all agree on a way that it should be played, or there's a sort of a tendency for it to be played the same way among musicians. With folk music, not so much. We will play it whatever way we heard it last, or whatever way we like it. And there's a lot of experimentation in folk music about let's try this chord or that chord, and sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. I think this song is a good example of that. That it's an old song. It's in a lot of cowboy books. A lot of cowboy players would have been aware of the song and would have done their version of it, and it may or may not have been what the original chords were. And so we don't spend a lot of time worrying about what the original was supposed to be because we frankly have no idea who wrote this anyway. So I would say when we're in that situation, we're going to go with what's on the paper, okay, as an ensemble, and I think that we'll be safest that way. Okay, so let's go through the chords. C chord, G chord, A minor chord. And again, that fancy chord in measure 2, the fancy A minor, you do not need to do that if you're just strumming and singing. Just use a regular A minor chord. When I repost this sheet music, I'm going to fix that because that's for the tough acts, and I don't want you to have to do that if you're just enjoying playing the song. Okay, so from the top, we're going to play all the way down through measure 16. Then we're going to come back all the way to the top. We're going to play down through measure 16 again. We're going to come all the way up to the top, and then we're going to play down through measure 14, skip 15 and 16, play 17 and 18 and 19. By the way, let's just do it one repeat. We don't need to do them both. We'll do the first and last verse. Okay, the first verse talks about how beautiful Laura is, and this last verse talks about how dead she is. Okay, so from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eyes like the morning star, cheeks like a rose. Laura was a pretty girl, everybody knows. Weep all ye little rain, wail, winds, wail. All along, along, along the Colorado Trail to last verse. 16 years she graced this earth. All of life was good. Now my love lies buried deep 'neath the
cross of wood. Weep all ye little rain, wail, winds, wail. All along, along, along the Colorado Trail.
Okay. I like this song. I don't know why I'm making a funny face. Maybe my very poor effort at singing and strumming. So that's how the song goes. Kind of sad. That's why I think the minor chords are more appropriate than a major voicing in there. And Laura was 16. She was a lovely young lady, and then she died. And so that's what happens. Now, I chose just straight plain old strumming. And again, if you're a singer and you want to grab a pick and you want to be loud and you want to get after your guitar, more power to you. If you don't like that key, you capo it up and everybody's happy, right? But that's not how we play as instrumental guitarists, in which case we get rid of the pick. We're going to use these 4 fingers. We won't use the pinky, and we're going to play the real chords up here. Okay. Before we do that, we want to play the melody. Okay, and that's the guitar line. And in this piece, your 3s and 5s, right? So it's probably better to start off in 3rd position than 1st position, probably. And you do have a 1 showing up there in measure 3, but for the most part, this is going to stay 3 and 5. There's a lot of here, so I tend to slide up to the 3rd position. The other thing that I am noticing when you get into the chorus down there at measure 13, 3, 5, 8. Okay? So that's going to happen pretty quickly. So that's a place where you're 3, 5, 8, and you really want to be able to nail that 8 because that's the high note of the song. So you're all along, along, along. So that's the moment we really want to nail that one. Really get that 8 solid. So just be aware of where your 8 is on your guitar. And because I play too many instruments, and so when I look down, these dots are sort of helpful, but they're different from instrument to instrument. So I usually try to think ahead a little bit. Which one's 8? That's that one. Okay, just remember you got a dot on 9 on this instrument, and so with different instruments, they put dots in different places. Let's try just the melody. If you are like, Matt, I totally don't need to play the melody. Play the chords. Just play and back me up as my rhythm guitarist. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh, 3, 1, 3, oh, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh, oh. 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh. 3, 1, 3, oh, 2, 3, 4. 3, 5, 8, 5, 3, oh, 3. 1, 3, 1, 1, oh, 1 to the top. And oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh, 3, 1, 3, oh, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh, oh. 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3, oh. 3, 1, 3, oh, 2, 3, 4. 3, 5, 8, 5, 3, oh, 3. Second ending. 1, 3, 1, 1, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Lovely tune. Okay. And that, I bet 3, 5, 8 for me, that comes by super fast. Dun, dun, dun. and then you got to go da-dum and get back pretty quickly as well. So that's kind of a fun part to try to get it as close to a dead on time as you can. Easy to talk about, harder to do. All right, I'm rushing just a tiny bit because I want to get down to the arpeggio picking, and this is a moment where you go from level 3 to level 1000, and I want to spend some time on that arpeggio picking. First, however, let's go through the tough acts. Now, you have choices in fingerstyle. You can do this, or you can do this. And I would say on an old-fashioned cowboy song with a dead girl in it, you want to do this because we want it to be soft and lush and beautiful and as much guitar as we can and just let the whole thing come out. On the other hand, if you are working on your claw and you're thinking, I'm going to play everything classical style, that's perfectly fine to play it that way. I am going to play it with my thumb. I'm going to give it as much pathos and as much depth and as long a notes as humanly possible. I'm going to do everything I can to have the guitar help me with that. But there's no reason why, if you're working on your claw, to not to try it the other way. You're supposed to play this through 3 times, and I would say a lot of times, if it's a good idea to vary the way your right hand is approaching the song as you go through there, mainly because your audience is going to be like, when is this song over? We already heard this exact same thing 4 previous times. They haven't heard it 4 previous times, but they'll feel like it, right? So the way you avoid that is varying your right hand, doing something different with your right hand, being a little bit smarter, a little bit more interesting. I probably won't do that now because I'm just going to get some lush sound out of that, and I'm going to try to keep the pacing right to help you play along at whatever you're doing at home. Okay, but again, as we get out of level 2 and we're settling into level 3, we're starting to make artistic choices that are ours. However we approach a song, this is a public domain song, been around forever. Pretty basic chords, not too complicated of a melody. This whole thing is going to sound great. Now, what you got, right? Bring it to me in your style and your way of thinking about the music. And that's what I think. That's where I think you stop being somebody trying to learn guitar and to switches to a guitarist, is when you're creating something that you believe in that may or may not necessarily be written on the paper. Let's give it a try. I have this bag of almonds that they have some sugar on them. And I thought before class I will eat one, and that is stuck right here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the top. Blaster version. Second inning. I do have one typo on here. I think it's not really a typo. No, yeah, it's a typo. Measure 6, the C chord there in the beginning. For some reason, I didn't add the 3 on there. You know, there's a C chord. I just wrote 2013, which is fine, but it sounds a lot better if you hit the 3 on the 5th string as well. Then you're rooting that chord and you're just bigger and prettier. So I would put a 3 on the 5th string of the C chord in measure 6. I think it's just going to sound a little nicer. And so that's what we got going on. Again, I think that deep, slow, flowing thing sounds really nice. When I've heard this done by cowboy singers, they usually really are getting as much pathos and deep sadness in this as they possibly can. And I think it absolutely works. And so I think when you are creating your arrangement and your thing, it's okay to play this one slow. It's okay to, really dig into all of the strings and try to get as much horsepower as you can out of each one. I think it creates a nicer overall effect. Now, just as an example though, if you decided, you know what, I'd much rather just do my claw shape, you can get away with it. Whoops. It's a different song when you do it that way. Not good, not bad, just different. And well, I think it's not as good, but you can make that decision. And again, you're trying things different ways. You've got a full toolbox that you're trying to get comfortable with on guitar. And some things are easy and some things are super hard. And so you want to be a little experimental. If you are playing something where people have expectations, modern rock songs where they have expectations that it's done a certain way, you might be fighting an uphill battle against public sentiment, but I don't want to lose any sleep over it. If the song's in G and you want to do it in C, just do it, just whatever. They won't like it. They won't like it even if you did it perfect. So, all right. Last piece of the puzzle on this one, and this is actually, I'm pretty sure this is the first official written out note for note finger style piece in the entire program. So I'm pretty sure I don't have anything in level 2 that's actually written out for full on official finger style. And so I want to talk about the arpeggio line. The arpeggio line, every single eighth note, something's going to happen. Okay, so there's never a point when your fingers are going to rest. And when you do this, okay, separate this type of arpeggio out from one you might do when you're singing. When you're doing one when you're singing, you just grab your basic chords and then you pick some strings. And it doesn't matter really which strings, as long as it sounds pretty. So in this case, if I was doing a regular plain old arpeggio, I would be going, eyes like the morning star, cheeks like a rose. Right, so I'm just adding in a very simple plain old arpeggio underneath my voice. Makes me sound more sophisticated, even though it's not particularly more sophisticated. But it is, one of those things that we do to make things sound pretty without being that much harder. So that would be a standard arpeggio. But in fingerstyle arpeggio, what we're doing is we're going to take that arpeggio, we're going to take elements of the tough acts, and then notably we're going to be using the chord pretty heavily, and then we're going to somehow, we still have to bring the melody out a little louder, a little more brightly, a little bit above the rest of the notes that are just going to be floating around out there. And so you will see on here what I did is I told you which notes to hit harder. Okay, so those are the ones with the little caret above it. So you've got 0, 1, 1, 0. I need you to hit that 0 a little harder than the 1, 0, 1. That's what you're doing. So that clearly rings out brighter and louder than the other ones. This is where fingerstyle guitarists will end up with fingernails. And so what I tend to do is I grow them out a little bit, they break off. I grow them out a little bit, they break off. They grow them out a little bit, they break off. This is this constant dumb thing that I do. But I'm lucky today. They haven't. I got 3. Well, I actually have all 4 of them. They're okay. They are actually usable. Okay, and so I for sure on those carrot ones, I'm going to try to use my nail to get a little bit brighter sound. And then on the other notes, I'm going to try not to use my nail to get a little softer sound. And so that way the melody is going to jump out over the rest of the accompaniment. So if we're going to do that first measure, it's going to be 0, 1, 0, 1, 3, 0, 3, 0, 5, 5, 3, 0, 0, 1. Okay, so the idea is just to pull that one with the carrot out over and above all of its neighbors, and it's a skill that takes a while to get used to. And once you do it a few times, you're like, that's the only way I want to play. I want to do that all the time. And so this is a piece that kind of introduces you to that. And then really on all of the future songs, you could just grab the melody line and then be mindful of what the chord is, and you can create your own chord melody finger style arrangements on the spot just by knowing where the melody is and what the chord is. You're still, just like in tough acts, you're going to grab the chord, and then you're going to make whatever modifications are necessary on the chord to get the melody note in. But other than that, you're just busy plucking away underneath there, trying to create a pretty accompaniment. And it works really well. It's absolutely fabulous how it just happens. Okay, so I'm going to start this. We're going to go really crazy slow, and I'm going to be talking about the chords that I'm holding and what my fingers are needing to do. And we may stop a handful of times, and then we'll go back through and we'll play it all the way. Okay, so we're starting out for that 0, 1, 0. Then I'm pinky to grab the 3. Slide up, grab both 5s. Grab the 3 with your ring finger. Open, and then 1. And I think there's a typo there, guys. It says 102. It should really say 122 at the end of that measure, because it's an A minor chord that we're using instead of a C major. So you might want to change that last 0 in measure 2 to a 2 on the same string. Okay, so it'd be 0, 1, 2, 2. Then I'm going to use my pinky to grab that 3 and try to get it a little louder. And then I got some zeros. 1 loud, 3 loud, O loud. And then there's my A minor chord, switch to C major. O loud, 3 loud, 3, pull the 1, 5, 3, 1, O, 1, O, 1, 2, 2, 1, O, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 1, 3. Oh, 3. Oh, and then sorry, I missed my spot. 5. This is a challenging moment here. This 5, 5. I changed it to 3, 1 after that because I felt like coming back to the 5 was too difficult. So I changed it to 5, 5, 3, 1, 0, 1, 2, 2. So you might consider that last 5 changing to a 1 on that same string. It'll sound just about the same and a little easier to play in my mind. Okay, so then we're at the end of measure 10 with that A minor. Grab your secret 3, 1, 0, 3, 0, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0. Now here you go. This is the challenging part here. Probably grab that 3 with your index finger. 3, 0, 5, 0. And then you're going to grab this 8 first, and then as you're putting the bar on 5, and then lose the pinky. Okay. 1 and 3 again. Long, long, oh, oh. The 3, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay. And so I've done a little bit of rewriting of that C chord in measure 16 to make it a little easier for myself. I think what you have is absolutely fine. I've just done a little bit of different on there to make it a little easier for my picking. And again, arrangements are meant to be rearranged, right? And so you find a way that sounds good. If you have to, if what's on the paper works, you go with what's on the paper. If it doesn't, then you start messing around with it. And that's how sometimes songs end up going from major to minor or minor to major. All right, so that's it. Now, the third time you come around, you're supposed to play into the ending there. The ending is measure 17, 18, and 19. Basically the same idea. 3, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 0, 2, 3. Dun, dun. And then a nice strum at the end. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play through it all 3 times. See how close you get. I'm going to try to play through it pretty slow. I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself. I'm not going to try to. Our tendency is we get caught on the hard parts because we sped up on the easy parts. Okay, and this is where playing with a metronome takes the fun out of music, but gets you to be a better musician. Or playing with a friend, right? Sitting down with a friend and saying, hey, will you just pluck a nice steady chord pattern for me? And then I'm going to play this arpeggio pattern. And I think that's a far more beneficial way to go get a metronome, right? That's what orchestras do, is we all get together and we all have to play in time with each other. Makes us better, okay? But if you're not, you can download one on your phone and ruin your life, which click, 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 click. Okay. All right. From the top, 3 times through. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the top. last time. That takes all of your brain power, all of my brain power. I don't know. You're probably doing it with not even trying, right? All right, guys. Colorado Trail. That's one of my faves. I love that song. Stay. I think it's just pleasant. And poor Laura, she's out in the. I don't understand. Weep all ye little rains, wail, wind, wail, all along the Colorado Trail. I don't understand that lyrics at all. But I like the melody and I like the little tune, and I feel sad for poor Laura, who's dead in under a cross of wood. So there we go. Hopefully that's something for you to work on. You hopefully enjoy that. Tomorrow we dig into Deo, Deo, daylight come and me wanna go home, the Banana Boat song. And so we'll try to get our banana on. We'll try to get as cool and possible Caribbean feel to it as we can. We won't fail utterly because I'm absolutely not Caribbean. And we will play that until we're sick of it tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I think it's pretty hot outside here, 90 degrees or so. And whoever's hiding out up here, thanks for being here. And Kathy, Arlo, Elizabeth, good to see you guys. And I will talk to all of you guys tomorrow. And I will end the stream here. Go out and stay in and play some music. Don't go outside. It's dangerous out there. Have a good night.